How's it going, everyone? It's time to continue on with my look at the new Battlefield 3 Close Quarters weapons, and today we're going to look at a highly requested weapon from the comments of the previous episodes, the weapon being the MTAR-21, also known in real life as the TAR-21 or TAR-21. I think this weapon's another case of the old Battlefield licensing with the weapon names like the ACWR, the M5K, the M416. The list goes on of weapons that have a slightly different actual model number in real life, and I think it's all down to DICE not having a license from each specific company to use their weapons. So the MTAR-21 is another engineer weapon, and it's unlocked by completing the assignment My Own Terminator, and this weapon definitely is a Terminator in game. The requirements for this challenge are to first unlock the ACWR, so check out my guide on that weapon for a quick overview of that one. And then the other two requirements for this assignment are to get a kill with your EOD bot, which seems to be proving quite difficult for some people, as I found in the comments of my videos. I actually managed to get this kill on my second attempt. The first attempt, my little EOD bot got run over by a friendly tank and destroyed, but the second time all I did was just wait until I got pegged by a sniper, and then I went on a little mission with my little robot, flanking around the back of this pesky sniper, and then zapped him up the arse with my bot's probe. After you've got this kill, all you need then is to get 100 kills with carbines, so basically you could just play around with your ACWR and experience that weapon and get 100 kills, and then you're on your way to your MTAR-21. So let's get started with this guide and take a look at some of the general stats of the MTAR-21. The power figure comes in at high, but it's got the same figures as most of the other carbines in the engineer kit. Recoil of the weapon comes in at high, with pretty high values all around, but the weapon's got mostly an upwards to right kick. This is definitely a weapon that you don't want to be holding your trigger down with, you just want to fire off just a couple of shots at a time. Capacity of the weapon is the usual 31 rounds, but the most outstanding feature for the MTAR-21 is its rate of fire, coming out on top of all the carbines in the engineer kit at 900 rounds per minute. So all in all, this weapon's kind of like the engineer's version of the AEK or the FAMAS, and it's got a super high fire rate which allows you to take people out in just a split second, but also comes in with quite a high recoil, meaning that you really need to be careful with your trigger finger. Because the carbines overall aren't too powerful at long range, and because that recoil really does come into effect when trying to take out your long range targets, this really is a weapon for close quarters engagements. So unlike some of the other weapons that we've looked at so far, which are more suited to longer range engagements, the MTAR-21, being released as part of the close quarters maps, is actually pretty good in close quarters and on these new maps. Because the recoil of this weapon is so high when aiming down sights, I actually found it better to just spray away from the hip, and if I saw someone off in the distance, I'd just get a spot on them and then make my way around and try and flank them from the side or from behind, and basically just make up some ground on them in order to engage them in a more suitable range for my MTAR-21. Another unfortunate stat that we didn't talk about for the MTAR-21 is its reload time. It comes in at 3 seconds, which is really pretty slow, and this makes it the slowest reloading weapon out of all the carbines. If you played around with the FAMAS, you'll know what it feels like to have a high fire rate weapon that's also got a slow 3-second reload time. You seem to exhaust your magazine in just a split second, and you can never seem to have enough bullets to take out those big groups of bad guys. After taking out one or two baddies, you just have to find yourself a little corner to sit in for a few seconds until you've managed to replenish your ammo. Then you can jump back straight into the action and continue gunning people down. So let's move on and take a look at my recommendations of a configuration of attachments for your MTAR-21. Starting off with the optics, the iron sights on this weapon are pretty unusual, but if like me, you'll probably unlocked a red dot sight for this weapon just by playing Gunmaster. I unlocked this weapon a fair while back while collecting clips for the ACWR, and I didn't actually use it until now. In the meanwhile, I've been playing that Gunmaster mode and racking up the kills with this weapon and unlocking various things without me even knowing about it. Due to the high fire rate of this weapon though, I wouldn't recommend the red dot sight. Because the gun bounces around so much when firing, you tend to lose track of that little red dot, and you can often lose your targets altogether with the overall window of the red dot sight being pretty small. So my recommendation for the optic goes with the holographic sight, which you get after just 50 kills. The 1.5 times magnification isn't really necessary for the MTAR-21 in that you're not going to be taking out targets at long range, but that overall larger window and the crosshair reticle is a lot easier to use with that higher recoil. I'd recommend using the holographic at least until you unlock the Cobra red dot sight, which has got the advantage of having no magnification plus that more prominent reticle as opposed to the red dot. Because this weapon's got such high recoil it makes it unsuitable for long range engagements. This is a weapon that the foregrip is pretty good with. The foregrip, which is unlocked after 30 kills and it's the only attachment in the primary slot, is going to help decrease that side to side recoil and overall just make it a lot easier to take out targets at close ranges. Then for the secondary attachment, my recommendation goes with the laser sight, which you get after just 20 kills. I got some of my better gameplays and clips using the laser sight and just spraying this thing from the hip. The recoil soon seems to get out of control when you're aiming down sights, so using that little laser pointer to line up your shots makes it much easier to take out bad guys. And if you're playing with this weapon on the new Close Quarters maps, you often run into groups of people through doorways and in tight rooms and hallways. If you're using this weapon on more wide open maps on normal rush or conquest games, then maybe I'd switch out the foregrip to no primary accessory, and then instead of the laser sight I'd maybe equip an attachment that's going to help decrease that recoil, such as a flash suppressor. But overall this setup of foregrip plus laser sight and just spraying this thing from the hip is definitely going to make this weapon your own Terminator, especially on those close quarters maps. So that's about it for my guide to the MTAR-21 in Battlefield 3. If you're a fan of this weapon or learnt anything new from my guide, please drop me a thumbs up down below, just help share the video with others and give my videos overall more widespread exposure. If you've stumbled across this video through YouTube search, please don't forget to subscribe, stick around for the remainder of these close quarters weapon guide reviews. And you can also check out the link to the playlist down in the description in case you want to check back on any of the recent episodes. I remember some kind of Israeli army request for my Battlefield 3 loadout series being made in the comments in a previous video, so maybe I can use the TAR-21 to fulfill that request in the near future. But that's it for my guide to the MTAR-21. Thanks for watching, I'll catch you all later.